This is Gemara Baba Basra Daf Hey, and we're picking it up on the top line of Hey Amid Aleph, which the Gemara continues with a story that proves the din in the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, Runya, that was his name, Runya Akfei Ravina Me'arba Ruchaisaf. Runya had multiple fields that surrounded, or I should say better, Ravina, Runya was Akfe. He was surrounded by Ravina, by fields from all four sides. Amar Lei. So Ravina said to Runya, Havli Kama de Gadri. Ravina says to Runya, give me reimbursements for the fences I made. Lo Yahiv, he don't want to give him anything. Havle lefi kanim. Give me the value of the kanim, the reeds that made up the branches. Bezol, the low price. Lo Yahiv, he don't want to give him. Havle agarniti rusa. So Ravina is trying to get anything over here, and he says, give me the amount to hire a watchman. Your field's at least guarded right now. Lo Yahavle. Yom Echad, one day Avikagadri Dikli. One day Runya was harvesting dates from his palm trees, which again were inside his field, which is surrounded by Ravina's field. Amar Le, so Ravina says, La Arise, to his sharecropper, Zil Shkol Minei, Kibura, Dahine. Go take from Runya a cluster of dates in front of him. Azal Asuyei, Rama Beikala. Sharecropper went. Rama Beikala. Runya shouted at the sharecropper to stop. Amar Le, Ravina says to Runya, Galis Taitach. No, you just showed. You just showed that you're happy that your fields are protected. Because as soon as this guy went to take something from your field, you yelled at him. Lo yehei eleize ba'alma. So therefore, even if it was a mere goat that would go into your field and potentially ruin it, miloi ba'init tirusa, will you not need watching? Of course you would. So Amar Le, so Runya says to Ravina, Ize ba'alma lav la'achluye baye. Says Runya to Ravina, a goat requires only to be shouted at. Meaning, I don't need a fence. I'm here and I see what's going on. I can just scream to protect it. Amar Le, Ravina says, V'lo gavra bayis. Says Ravina, do not need at least a person to be there. You're here now. But in general, you need a watchman. So pay me for that. Also, came to Rava, as they came to Rava, Amar Le, Zil Paisi b'may defais. Said Rava, you to Ravina, you have to be, he said to Runya, go give to Ravina something to be mafaisim, to appease him. V'ilai denil chadina, Rav Huna, I'll leave it to Rav Yosi, and if not, I'll don you up like Rav Huna, leave it to Rav Yosi, meaning that you're going to have to pay half of the cost. And therefore, that's how they told Runya that Al-Maisa, he was obligated to pay for the field, for the protection of his field. Continues the Gemara, another story. Runya Zavan Arya Misri de Ravina. Runya bought a piece of land on the boundary right next to the fields of Ravina. Savar Ravina Lasuke Misham Dina Devar Metzra. So Ravina thought, wait, I get first dibs. Dalach of Dina Devar Metzra. Only Rav Savar Beid Rav Yevel Ravina Amri Inish. Arba litzalola. Rav Safra told to Ravina, people are going to say 4 for the hide, 4 for the tanner, meaning Runya was a shoemaker and he would purchase he would purchase hides to make shoes. So Rav Safra said to Ravina, Runya is a poor guy, he makes a few dollars. So therefore, people say 4 zuz for the hides, 4 zuz for the wages, meaning he has no money. So the din of Dina Devar Metzra is not going to apply as he's buying this field just to make ends meet. And we continue with the Mishnah on the bottom of Hey Amid Aleph, continuing on a similar theme to the Mishnah that we saw in Daf Beis Amid Aleph, which is the obligations to pay for walls between fields. Says the Mishnah, Koisel Chatzar Shanafa. The wall of a chatzar collapsed. We obligate both neighbors to rebuild it. Ad arba amois. Becheskas ad arba amois. They have to rebuild it till the height of 4 amois. B'cheskas shenosan, once the wall is rebuilt, we assume that they each paid, ad sheyavi raya shloinos, meaning they're both obligated. So we assume both of them are normal yidden and they took care of the obligation, unless one brings a proof that the other did not pay. Meidalit amos ulamala, from 4 amos and above of such offense, ein mechayvin oisai, we do not obligate someone to rebuild such a fence. Samach loy koisel acher. What happens if the neighbor put another wall next to this wall, and why he wanted to put a roof over both walls, meaning he wants to utilize this wall for himself. Even before they put on the roof, he is obligated to pay for the entire wall because he's showing that he's happy with the wall, so even the extra height he has to pay for everything. Now in this case, the chazaka is reversed. We assume he did not pay until he brings a raya that he did indeed pay. Says the Gemara. Omar Reish Lakish, HaKaveh Zman L'Chaveirei. Says Reish Lakish, if one tells his friend or kaveh a specific time that he has to pay back a loan, V'amar Loi, and the time for the loan comes, and he says to him, Paraticha b'teich zamani, I paid you back within the right amount of time, Einoi nem, he's not believed. Ulevai sheibara bizmanoi, because halavai you would even pay on time. So for him to say, I paid back within the time early, that he is not believed. That's the statement of Rish Lakish. Abaye v'Rav Yitarmi Teravayu of it inish the part of Begoizmana. Says Abaye and Rav, it's not true. People do pay within the right amount of time. Zimnin Dimitramu Zuze. There are times that money unexpectedly comes to someone. Amar, and he says to himself, Idal Apare, I'm going to go pay back the guy. Why? As we turn over to what one sees is a small Heyamad Aleph. He says, I have cash right now. Let me go pay him back. Why? Kiechi. So that Deloy Litadron, so that it's not a bother for me to pay back when the time really comes. So says Abaya and Rava, disagreeing with the statement of Reish Lakish, that there are times that one would indeed pay back early. Asks the Gemara Tanan from our Mishnah, which is the reason why, of course, the statement was brought down over here. Said our Mishnah b'cheskas shenasan shevi raya shaloi nasan. So chazaka that the two people paid for the wall till the zaraya not. Hey chidami, what's the case? If the case is that he said, Paraticha, I paid you back bizmani at the right time. Shita b'cheskas shenasam. Of course, the chazaka is that they paid because he says he paid at the right time. Says the Gemara 5 lines down, base. Seemingly the Mishnah would be proving, the chiddush of the Mishnah would be that he says, I paid back b'toich zmani, I paid back early, and he still believed. We see someone is believed to pay within the Zman. Says the Gemara, shiny acha, no, there's no raya. It's called Safa v'Safa Zamanehu. You know why there's no raya? Because every row of stones is its time to pay. So the Mishnah is not a kasha on Reish Lakish, because as he was building it, he didn't have any tainas, and therefore to say afterwards is not going to be a kasha. Tashema, continues the Gemara, flipping over to asking on Abaye and Rava. Tashema b'cheska shaloi nasan shevirei shenasan. The Mishnah continues, the chazak is that he didn't pay until the second case higher than 4 amos wall, until he brings a raya that he did pay. Hey chidami, again, why is he not believed? So we see people don't generally pay back early. Akasha on Abaya and Rava. Says the Gemara, Shiny Achlis case is different. In this case, he would pay back early because he's saying, "What do I want the Rabbanan to be mechayev me? I'd rather just take care of it and pay early." So the Gemara had a machlekes Rish Lakish, Abaye, and Rava whether one pays back early, and the Gemara could bring a raya either way. At the end of the first white line, says the Gemara, Papa. Ravuna Braid Rav Yeshua Avdi Ka'abaye v'Rav Mar Baravashi Avdi Karesh Lakish. So we have a machlekes who did like whom. Says the Gemara, what's the Lamaisa of the Hilchasa Karesh Lakish? Va'afilu mi asmi. The Hilchasa is like Karesh Lakish, that we assume one does not pay back early. Says the Gemara, you know how strong this assumption is. Va'afilu mi asmi. Even to collect from Yisayim without making them swear. V'aval kav d'amar amar. Habali barim nechsi yisayim ne'barel b'shvua. Generally, you could only collect from Yisayim orphans with a shvua. However, chazaka lo yavin inish debar b'goizmani. The chazaka of Reish Lakish is so strong, even to collect from Yisayim without a raya. Says the Gemara, we'll just begin the next sugya. They ask the kasha. Tavayil acher zman. What happens after the time for the period of the loan has passed? He comes to ask him for this money. He says, I paid back. Do we say in place of the chazaka that people don't pay back early? Amrinon mali l'shaker. We do say a mali l'shaker, that he has a migu. Why? Because he could have said braticha bizmani. Therefore, as the bottom Rashi points out, he said I pay back early. He's believing the shvua. A form of migu makom. We'll pick it up on the top of Vav Amid Aleph.